everybody, and welcome to a Spooky Dooky episode. It's always spooky season over here, if you know what I mean. Today we have some scary effing. We got a kid who there is something, I don't even know how to explain it. It left me speechless, but it's him haunting other people, but it's not him. You'll have to just listen. And we have two people who have just somehow had the worst luck and lived in haunted houses like their whole life. I don't understand it. It's scary as shit. We also have a person who had an unexplainable visual channel show up on their TV and they just can't explain it. I kind of look into it a little bit. It seems like a plausible thing. Don't know if I believe it. But you guys, there's so many stories in this. It's so good. Please make sure you stay till the end. I promise these are scar. They're scurra, shaking in your boot. Scary stuff. And they're all true to the best of my knowledge, okay? Okay. Anyways, let's go. What is the creepiest real life story you know that still sends chills down your spine? When I was about 11-ish, me and my family of 6 had just moved out of a tiny 1-bedroom home to a 3-bedroom one. Fairly peaceful and no issues whatsoever. About a month or 2 in, it's late at night, and with the layout of how my room was to the rest of the house, it was a direct view to the backyard. My mom had put these lacy white curtains up that hardly moved much, but because I was scared of the dark and we had our dog sleeping in the front of the back door, it didn't really freak me out as much. Anyways, fast forward to this particular night. It's late and I can very clearly distinguish the snores of both my sisters and my dad. All doors are open, and even though my back was turned toward the wall, I would have been able to hear if someone was walking into my room. The floors there weren't exactly quiet, and especially in this one unavoidable section that you had to walk past in order to get to my bed. Still facing the wall, I suddenly feel this weird overprotective urge to hug my sister. She's on the other side of the room and clearly sleeping. I could hear her. Still feeling this immense urge, out of nowhere, I can feel my whole body freezing as a literal hand touches the top of my head. I couldn't scream, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move. The hand was weirdly warm and gentle as it laid on my head for what felt like hours. I just panicked because I knew it wasn't my sister as she was snoring. It wasn't my dad as he was loudly snoring too, and if it was, I'd normally see the light of the hallway as my mother didn't like roaming in the dark around the house. I'd hear my brothers groaning when she'd do this as their room shared an odd angle with the hallway. I wanted to cry too at some point as I felt the fingers scratch gently on my scalp before finally moving the hand. I didn't hear footsteps, I didn't hear the creaking of the floorboards, I didn't hear any movement. It probably took me about an hour or so to fully knock the paralyzed state out of me, and when it did, I got out of bed and went to my sister. She was fine, and seeing that she made me silently break down for some reason. I quietly went to tell my mom and dad what happened, and they dismissed it as a dream, as for one, our dog didn't alert us. She's very aggressive to strangers, and 2, it could have been a dream. Being reasonable, I somewhat agreed. Didn't think much of it after that until a week later. I get home after school to find cops outside my house. Panicked and thinking of my sister's safety first thing, I run over to my parents. They're with all my siblings, which relieve me, and after calming down, I ask what happens. Turns out, in our backyard, we had a 2-story shed. In the top floor, my dad had to get some tools he had up there, and when he did, he came across a dirty, frail-looking woman. She just smiled and nonchalantly stated that my sister was pretty, and if by any chance he still wanted her. Still sends chills in me, and feelings from that night still haunt me to this day. Please always make sure your windows and doors are locked. Wait, how did she do it so quietly though? How did she get in there so quietly? And why did your dog not react? That's terrifying. Don't get me wrong. I was like feeling uncomfortable the whole time you read that. Really like set me back a little bit, but I need some explaining. I need some explaining. Also, there's no comments on this because it's a comment itself. So let's keep it going. Something tall and faceless in my family's old house. Hello. Growing up, I came across a lot of stories about my family's time living on an Indian reservation in Nebraska. This story in particular is one of many that happened in this house or on the land the house sits on. No one knew how old this house was, which was an old farm in rural Nebraska on reservation land, surrounded by cornfields in every direction. The house is gone now, the land left abandoned, and the stories of what happened, no one wanted to rebuild or use the land. Back in 1950s, a small traveling carnival came through the county. My grandfather and grandmother went with their kids, including my uncle, who was about 8 years old at the time. He had a little pony that he loved and insisted on bringing along for the day. He was always trying to find reasons to ride it. Traveling back then wasn't what it is now. There was maybe one paved road in the entire county, with the rest dirt roads. The family outing was simple: enjoy the carnival, then head home before dark. They got there and everyone had a great time. As the day went on, they decided to camp overnight instead of driving back, as the weather was really nice. They had camping supplies in the car, but my grandfather didn't want the pony left unattended around a bunch of strangers at the carnival. So he told my uncle to ride the pony back home, get it settled, then come straight back. It should have been a shortish trip, probably no more than 2 to 3 hours, as the carnival was close enough for this to be manageable. Still daylight, simple instructions. But dusk started rolling in, and my uncle didn't return. At first, my grandfather was just annoyed. He kept looking in that direction of the road that my uncle should be returning on. My uncle had a reputation for getting distracted and goofing off, but as the sun dropped lower, annoyance turned into worry. Once it was nearly dark, my grandfather loaded the family into the car and drove back toward the house. They found my uncle sitting cross-legged on the opposite side of the dirt road, next to the cornfield, facing the house. The pony was standing next to him, calm and looking for food along the ground. My grandfather got out, furious and relieved at the same time, and started demanding to know why he never came back. But my uncle didn't answer. He just sat there, staring straight ahead at the house, not crying, not scared, not even concerned that my grandfather was so upset, just fixed on something. My grandfather kept scolding him, but my uncle wouldn't even turn his head. Finally, my grandfather said something like, "Do you hear me talking to you, boy?" And my uncle quietly answered, "There's somebody in the house." He raised his hand and pointed to the big living room window. That house barely had electricity, and only a single bulb hung from the ceiling in the living room. When they all looked, the light was on. My grandfather swore he didn't leave it on when they had gone to the carnival. He looked and saw nothing. When my grandfather started to get on him, asking why he was sitting here after just leaving the light on like that, that's when my uncle said, "There. Look." My grandfather turned again toward the house, and my grandfather saw it. A tall figure stepping into the living room. So tall it had to duck under the doorway. It looked like a man wearing old overalls. This man had to be over 7 feet tall, and it did not feel like it was human. No human they have ever seen looked and moved like this. My grandfather said the moment he saw it, every hair on his body stood up. He tried to make out the face, but there wasn't one. Just kind of a shape where a face should be. A blur. Which later on, he said he wasn't sure if it was better or worse. The figure moved toward the center of the room, reached up and pulled the string on the light. The bulb clicked off. The house went dark. My grandfather and great-grandfather spent hours tearing through the house afterwards. Every room, the cellar, the closets. They never found anyone. And there was only one way in or out. No footprints, no sounds, no sound that anyone had been there at all. The family continued to live in that house, encountering visitors in the night, faces looking in windows, and children giggling and playing at night. It's odd even visiting it. It's really quiet. No birds, no nature sounds, just silence when the feelings you're being watched. My family always hinted that there were older stories tied to it. Medicine men, shapeshifters, something evil that had a name once, but is forgotten now. Whatever walked through the doorway that night, my family believed it wasn't human. The house is gone now, but the story isn't. And that part that always unsettles me most is how my grandfather would go white when he recalled my uncle saying, "There's somebody in the house." Okay, scare shit. So you know what this reminds me of? I don't know if you guys have ever seen It Follows, but it reminds me, and this gave me chills when I saw this in this movie. It freaked me out. But that tall, lanky guy that's following him, he breaks in the doorway or something and he's humongous. Oh my God, that freaked me out. I hated that. I hated how that movie ended. It was such a good movie until the end. I was like, Cool, you ruined the movie. Thank you. But anyways, that was such a good read. You know, these ancient burial things, I never really understood them. Because, like, what were they doing? Like, why were they doing this crazy shit? And why does crazy shit always happen when stuff is buried there or it's in the house? Like, I know that things can be haunted or have bad juju. I'm pretty sure that some of this stuff might have that. But it's here nor there. Super scary. I don't know how people continue living in situations like this. I know that people have no choice, but God, I'd be pooping my pants every night. I don't know if I would ever get a good night's rest because scary shit. Scary. It's such a good story and written so well. There's only one comment and it says, creepy story, thanks for sharing. I agree. Thank you, OP, for sharing. That's all about. Thank you very much. Let's keep it moving. I was haunted by the opposite of black-eyed children. To preference, I am a 24-year-old female currently living in North Carolina, but mainly split my year birth through 13, moving back and forth from West Virginia, where my dad's family is from, to Ohio, where my mother's family is from. This also requires some backstory. Now, typically you'd assume that living in Appalachia is where this all began, but oddly enough, I had experienced what I can only call supernatural experience as far back as I can remember, even starting in Ohio. I began to speak very clearly and early in life. By 2, I was able to hold almost a complete conversation, due to the fact that my parents never baby talked with me. Because of this, I began to ask questions, some annoying little kid questions, but some my parents had no real answer for. I would ask, why can't I use a big girl cup? In the same sentence, I would ask, why is there a blue ball in the corner of my room at night? Most of the time, my parents shrugged it off by saying, you were just having a dream. And at that age, why would I push further? When I was 3 or 4, we moved into a 2-story townhouse in Ohio. I wasn't typically a kid who was scared of the dark, but in that house, I began to demand that my father would read to me and stay in my room until I fell asleep. For a while, this seemed to work, but my parents did not want me to get up in the habit of needing an adult in the room just to fall asleep, so they bought me a nightlight. While yes, the nightlight helped, I was still terrified. Not of my own room, but the hallway that I would see from the bunk bed. My bed was pushed up against the back wall, with a window at the head of my bed. On the wall directly across was my double closet with double sliding doors. The rest of my room held my small foldable chair bed that I'm sure anyone born in the 2000s had, along with my other things and toys. From the head of my bed, laying flat, I could turn to the left and see partly out of the window, whereas if I turned right, I could see directly out of the hallway where my parents' bedroom was, just out of view. This was the source of my fear. I refused to keep my door shut because I could constantly see and hear things in the hallway, and having the door shut kept me almost paranoid as I could hear it but not see it. What I saw on a nightly basis after my parents had gone to bed was a full woman, seemingly soaked with water, pacing the hall while absolutely sobbing her eyes out. She never spoke or even looked up at me, but at a very young age, I knew this wasn't right. Who was she? Did my parents let her in? She's crying so loudly. How wasn't this waking my parents up? These questions plagued me every night, and I asked my parents about it and got the same response, that it was just a nightmare. In my parents' room, there was this old vanity with a mirror my mom kept covered up with a cloth. I had eventually determined that the closer I got to it, the more scared I was, but because of this is where she hid candy and gum. One day, while she was asleep, I decided to try and steal a piece of gum. I went upstairs into her room, and while looking at the vanity, I swear to God, I saw the woman who roamed the halls at night sitting in the mirror looking at me. I screamed and started crying, alerting my mother, who quickly ran into the room and threw a blanket, now fully covering the mirror, and promptly explained to never go into her room alone. The rest of the time at the house was a blur. I remember visiting my grandparents much more with my mom, who was just trying to get out of that house until we were ready to move. When I was 6, we moved back to West Virginia for the second time. We lived in a house 2 houses down from where my grandparents lived, and despite still seeing random orbs and apparitions, which I had become somewhat accustomed to, not much happened until we moved into the house directly next to my grandparents. The house was built in the 30s, and it showed, from the super thin glass to no central air or heat. Beyond that, the people who lived there before us weren't certified hoarders, but left some very curious renovations. grounds. The house was built into the side of a steep hill. It once had a back porch, but 4 plaster walls had been constructed around it, making it a laundry room. There was no insulation and the floor was so sensitive you had to walk a very certain path to ensure the wood wouldn't just give out. With this, they enclosed exterior window, making a window from my room look directly into the makeshift laundry room. Interesting things were also found throughout the house. A board-up fireplace, padlocks on the outside of the bedroom doors, light switches far too high up for any child to reach, and the crawl space. The crawl space was the worst. To get to it, you had to go around to the back of the house. Before moving in, my father took a crowbar to the padlock on the old wooden half door. There was no floor besides dirt and it smelled like mildew. I feel like you're thinking, well, that's just what a crawl space is. And you'd be correct. It was what was found inside that was the last straw for my parents to end up calling the cops on the previous tenants. The past owners had a lot of kids, more kids than they could handle. They had 6 kids, 2 parents, and a grandparent living in that 2-bedroom hoarder house. Apparently, they thought it was a great idea to make this crawl space a bedroom for their youngest boy. When we opened it, we found a bare mattress, a small desk, a few toys, and crayons, and just sad drawings. Again, I like to reiterate, West Virginia, temperatures below freezing in the winter, dirt floors that wasn't flat but on a slope, no power, and they had a 6-year-old boy living, most likely locked in. As soon as my parents realized what they were looking at, they had me go play at my grandparents' house until the cops came to document this. Once we finally got the house livable, we moved in. The layout was odd. As soon as you walked in, to the left was my parents' bedroom, which had a closet, which at some point was made into the smallest bathroom ever. To the right was the dining room, and if you walked past the dining room, there was a small room we used as an office, because it was at some point a sunroom turned into an internal room. Back in the dining room, if you kept going, you find the living room and then the kitchen. To the left of the kitchen was an odd walk-in pantry that led to the aforementioned makeshift laundry room. Back out to the living room. If you turn left, you'd find a crossroad with a bathroom on the right and bedroom on the right, and my bedroom on the left. Welcome to my bedroom. To the left was a light switch too tall for me to reach. Mind you, no other light switches were like this. A bookshelf and my closet. To the right was my bed shoved in the corner against the wall that had the exterior window that actually just looked into the laundry room past my bedroom. Past my bedroom was an open walkway in my playroom. Immediately after moving in, I began to have actual nightmares, ones where I was being stalked or chased. It wasn't long after that I began going to church with my grandmother. She was devoutly Southern Baptist and living in that area. Church was really one of the only activities available. Some part of me hoped that reading the Bible and praying would make it all go away, but it didn't. Every night I would say my prayers, sign hymens, and read my Bible. I even slept with rosaries my Catholic godmother gave me, but it didn't stop him. Like clockwork, the knob of my closet would slowly fall off. It was solid metal, so it would still make a loud clanking noise as it hit the carpet. I would lay there completely still, yet my eyes fixed on the door. The door, which was hard to open considering the carpet in front of it was its threshold, would open. Inside would be a boy. I vividly remember him. His head was too large for his body. His hair was short, yet had greasy black bangs. In fact, every part of him looked greasy. He stayed huddled in a ball, but turned to look at me, and oh my god, those eyes. Eyes twice or triple the size they should be, and while every part of him was black, his eyes were almost a blinding white. His facial expression wasn't in malice, but almost a cry for help. I remember being so terrified I couldn't move. This was no nightmare or sleep paralysis though. Multiple times I would sit up trying to examine him further or get the courage to run out of my room. I would beg in tears to not sleep in my room. I had told my mother about it many times. She was actually becoming concerned either for my mental health or that I was somehow right. One night I was allowed to stay at my grandparents' house and my mother slept in my room and she saw it. She saw him. Besides myself, my parents were not religious but spiritual. After she encountered him, she contacted my godparents who came along with their priest to bless the room in the house. After that, things just got worse. Physical things started to happen, like books falling off of shelves and me waking up with bruises and scratches. We couldn't take it anymore. Finally, it was bad enough that we all moved into my grandparents in Ohio until we could find an apartment. Years later, my mother admitted to me that she had felt everything too. She just never wanted to admit it and scare me. Once I got away from it, it doesn't torment me like it used to. I can sleep well and have not needed a special routine since moving out, but sometimes I swear, if I was back in West Virginia, I can feel him right inside a closet door to this day. Wow. That was a lot. I don't know that it was specifically the places you lived. I mean, maybe, but it seems like whatever these things were, they were kind of following you. To say that, your mom admitted years later, I know you're a kid and even writing this, maybe you didn't realize it, but your mother having the blanket over the mirror was a clear indication that your mother was seeing this too. And she's like, I don't want to see this. It's terrifying. All of this is absolutely terrifying. I can't even imagine, because when I hear noises, man, it gives me chills. Thinking about it, it scares me down to my core. I'm like, whoo. And thinking about ghosts and demons, it's so hard for me to really wrap my head around it, because I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong on this, there has to be a religious aspect of some sort for us to have spirits, ghosts, demons among us. Because I read a story on here a while back and it's kind of stuck with me. It kind of made me realize that maybe hell is real, because this has to be somebody's hell. And it was a story about a guy who committed suicide. I think it was their uncle. And every night at the same exact time, you'd hear the footsteps going up for him to himself. That's got to be somebody's personal hell, right? You would think. Just reliving the moments right before you die. Probably that regret, because I don't know if you guys know this, but they did a study of people who jumped off a bridge to commit, to in their life, and 90%, you guys, it's a very high percentage. 90% of these people that tried to do this, they regretted it the second they jumped. I feel like that speaks a lot of volume when it comes to yourself. And I don't think that people really, you're obviously not in the right mindset when you do something like this, but I don't think enough thought process goes into something like this, because it's such a permanent thing for a temporary solution. And I know that these people, because, I've had my battles with things, back when I was younger and I was going through puberty, because when you're going through puberty, a lot of people have these thoughts, and it's just your brain leveling out with your hormones. And it's just one of those things where I don't think a full thought process goes through before you do something like this. And then when you're faced with it, you're like, oh, fuck, what am I doing? And so I know this is a little off track here, but it just makes you think that, especially the kid in the closet that you were seeing that was balled up in a corner. Maybe it was the kid that was in the crawl space. He probably died freezing to death or something, and the parents got rid of the body. Like, who knows? There's so many things, because we never truly know what happens after death. People, they have these spouts. Told the story before about how my mother was pronounced dead when she was 5 years old, and the things that she saw. And, it's very similar to everybody else's experience when they passed away temporarily, and they were pretty much pronounced, they coded. And it's a hard thought for me, because I truly try to think about the reality of these things, because obviously if they're trying to hurt you, they're probably demonic, but these things were just there. And the bruising, obviously they were trying to hurt you, but this is absolutely terrifying. I don't think it's a bad thing to be conditioned to need to sleep a certain way. A nightlight is not enough for me by myself. When I'm by myself, it's really hard for me to sleep. I have to have the TV on to hear a voice or something, so it makes me feel like I'm not alone. And that obviously is a condition from when I was a kid, because my mom used to let me watch TV when I go to sleep, and absolute silence by myself is deafening. It's so uncomfortable. I hate it. And I've said this before, I'm also kind of scared of the dark, let's be honest. I'm a woman who is scared of the dark. Okay, I'm not scared to say it. I'm not scared to say it. I'm scared of the dark. I'm not scared to say it. Yeah, dude, this is terrifying. I don't know. For me, I'd probably try and get myself cleansed, because it seems like these things, they are just around you. And I know this could just be a string of bad places that you lived, but boy, this is heavy. This is scary. I don't know how you dealt with this your whole life. And, I've heard of people having these kind of things. Even my mother grew up in a haunted house, and it learned their names. It would it would do crazy shit. It's just so hard. I'm so glad I've never really had to deal with this. I mean, I've said the little bit that I had to deal with, but I've never had to deal with like a haunting, and it's terrifying. And I think that's why I'm so intrigued and I want to go explore things like that. But Anyways, tangent. Let's go to the comments. Commenter, your mother definitely also saw the crying woman. She just told you it was a nightmare and such to not scare you. Also, what if the boy was the child trapped in that room? That's what I said. Good on your parents for contacting law enforcement. That's child abuse and neglect. Yes. OP responded. She's admitting to seeing the woman. She even said she saw her in the shower with her once and she freaked out. Ooh. My mom actually connected the vanity to the woman and had her father take it to a random dumpster. As for the boy, I don't think he was a spirit. I've encountered many, but I don't think he was one. One thing I forgot to mention is that while yes, I was scared of him, but it was also like he was literally putting fear into me somehow. Like placing that energy into me. Commenter, that's a horrible place to see a spirit. The shower? Yeah. She must have felt both violated and terrified at the same time. Also, luckily, she'd figure out it was the vanity and got rid of it though. Perhaps he should have taken it straight to the dump, cause what if someone else took the vanity and had to deal with the woman? Also, I take it your father didn't experience the woman at all and didn't believe either of you, hence why your grandfather got rid of the vanity. It's so crazy how things attach to things like this. Oh, I hate it. Because, I look at some of the things in this room, and I've kind of spoke a little bit about this before. Every single one of these are from an antique shop. Obviously, not the fucking rats, you guys. I have a rat guy. I love taxidermy rats, you guys. It's like my favorite thing. I love them doing stupid things. But these two are dancing. Yeah, all these are from the antique store. Even this guy. This guy that always looks disappointed. But, I always get concerned with things like this because you never know what can be holding on to something. And if somebody got rid of it because something was attached to it. There's these things I picked up at the thrift store and they look borderline racist. I'm gonna be quite frank with you. Picked him up and I took a picture of him. And I still feel weird about it. This is the picture. It made me so uncomfortable when I saw it. I'm like, this thing definitely has bad juju. Why the fuck am I picking it up? But it's so crazy how things attach to things. And I'm so curious if anybody knows why this is, because I've never really looked into it. Please let me know in the comments because this is so intriguing and I don't get it. Commenter, your story will probably make the rotation into my nightmares. You're definitely a braver soul than I. It would have put me into an asylum. I'm glad to hear you made it through intact. And I know it was a typo, but the 12-year-old boy in me erupted with out loud giggling when I saw sign hymens. I know I saw that and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna let it roll. I don't know if he meant to, I don't know if they meant to put that, but we're gonna keep it in there. So anyways, let's keep it going, you guys. Found creepy TV channel. Now it's gone. I tried to post this a while back, but it wouldn't let me. Hopefully it does now. A few months ago, my mom was watching TV and scrolling through channels with me, and my sister in the room until she stopped at this one channel we found unnerving. I was on the computer when my sister called out to me. She told me to look at the TV, and it was a channel with a man staring directly at the screen, framed only to show above his shoulders. He had long black hair that covered his face with one eye peeking through, along with his nose and mouth. He was moving slightly, and we've assumed it might have been live. In the background, there was a deep echoey voice repeating the phrase, "I see you," over the video. That was all it showed, and my entire family saw it. The channel was named Hello There, Special 12. But when we searched up, we got nothing. When we went to go look again, it was already gone. And that freaked us out even more. We tried to look for it through each channel, but either the broadcast finished and moved on to the next, or it completely disappeared as if it was never there. From what I remember, there wasn't a description, and it was just the video of that man staring at us. We're still restless about it even now. We don't know why there was a channel broadcasting something so creepy. I've been trying to look up this channel ever since, looking up the title everywhere only to find no result. It's been months since it happened, and my family is still pretty weirded out by it. All I know is that it happened, that my family witnessed it, and I witnessed it. That was by far the strangest and creepiest thing I've encountered with my family present. I'm hoping that soon I'll find some sort of answer, or maybe even find that same channel again and look more into it. Either way, it was weird, and it compelled me to make this post. This would freak me out as well, and so crazy with hackers now. This could be such a common thing. I don't know why more people don't do it. I'm not saying do it, but even back, when was that? The guy, I'll show it here. This was a huge phenomenon. This was so crazy. People like freaked out over this, and this is the coolest shit. I'm gonna be honest, this is some badass shit. So cool. And I don't know why this hasn't happened more, because we are more technically advanced than ever, and this happened when not really at all. I don't know. Let's just look up the title and see if there's anything. What was it? Hello there, special 12. Let's see if anything pops up. I doubt it. Okay, so all this popping up is Obi-Wan Kenobi, so I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's they. You know what? I'm gonna make it my life mission to find this. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, guys. So I did a little digging. And so what I'm seeing is, I guess, stations, they do these placeholder things. They do these tests, like signal things, and they have phrases, weird phrases that they like to say along the lines of testing, we see you, hello there, kind of things. I'm trying to make you feel better about this. I don't know if I believe this. It also says it could be just like a channel buffering, a glitch, whatever, bro. It's saying you should just restart your TV. Typical thing the internet would tell us to do. Oh, that's too scary. Don't do that. It's nothing to be worried about. Don't look into it. Don't look any further. What are you doing? What are you doing? But that's the only thing I could find. Everything else, it says it's not a hack. Don't be alarmed. This is probably a network that went live when they were doing a test. Now, if I believe that, no. But if you want to believe that, that's okay. That's just something that I was I read up on for you. Yeah. Commenter. My guess would be someone hacked the TV channel and started broadcasting live. When they realized it, they shut him down, and that's why it ended so abruptly. I'm sorry, but I can't find another explanation for a TV show that doesn't exist anymore. Hacking is the only explanation I can think of. OP responded. That's honestly what I thought of too. It lasted for around 20 minutes or so, and after that, we couldn't find it anymore. It's so bizarre either way seeing something like that broadcast on live TV. OP responded, this was a while ago, so details are pretty hazy, but from what me and my family saw, he was just staring down the camera. We would see him move and barely blink, slightly, so it was still an image. He didn't do much else than that, though. He didn't speak, but we heard some sort of deep voice in the background, like I said before. The background was like a Minka house, from what we could recall. It might have also been nighttime, but we don't remember. And that's all that really was. Hopefully someone else has better luck than me if they decide to look into it. I'm stumped. Commenter, I had a channel on my dad's TV that literally just showed the IDs of people. Their faces were blacked out and the channel would air for hours. Hell, maybe even days. The audio as well gave me the creeps. It was just static. I saw it during lockdown and I'm not sure if it still aired. I haven't been in my dad's room in a bit to check it out. I still don't like it, you know? I think that what I found was kind of a good example. It was a network doing a test and somehow they accidentally went live. I mean, I think that's a pretty fair explanation. I don't know. It's still super weird, but you know, like right now while I'm recording, I can go live right now. If I hit the wrong effing button, I can go live to you. So, I mean, and I could just be like, I'll see you. You know what I mean? But I'm not on TV, so I'm just on YouTube. I'm just on the internet, so. The Doppelgänger. This is a true story that happened to me when I was around 11 years old. This isn't even the scariest ghost encounter that's happened to me, but this is the first time I've seen an apparition with my own eyes. For some background, I've always lived in haunted houses since I was a child, but this Missouri house was completely different. Unlike my previous house in California, where I only heard creepy things like footsteps going up the stairs in the attic, toys going off by themselves, voices, as well as seeing things move on its own. I've never seen a spirit until I moved to rural Missouri. It was in the middle of the day. My best friend Jillian and I were hanging out outside my clubhouse my parents built for me in my backyard. There was a lower and upper deck. The lower deck was smaller and had wooden window shutters you could open from the inside or outside of the clubhouse. While we were inside the lower deck playing on our 3DSs. Jillian told me she had to run over to feed her cats really quick. She lived next door. So basically told her to do her thing and I'd be waiting inside the clubhouse. About 3 minutes later, Jillian comes rushing over to the window shutters, opening them from the outside suddenly and frantically. I look over at her and asked her what she was doing, but there was no response. She just stared at me blankly, not to mention her face was completely gray. I thought she smeared Halloween makeup on her face or something, so I told her to come inside. She then slams the shutters closed and I saw through the cracks of the wood her run off behind the clubhouse without a word. I was confused, wasn't sure if she was playing a prank on me or what, but it didn't raise any alarm for me at the time. I opened the front door to peek around to see where she went. She's nowhere in sight. I then look over to her house next door to see her just now coming out of her house. No gray face paint, just her normal looking self. After seeing that, it shook me to my core. I was too scared to be at my clubhouse anymore, so I ended up hanging out at her house instead for the rest of the day. I hate stuff like this. I hate it. Because I feel like this happens so much and your brain kind of skips a beat and you're like, am I losing my fucking mind? It makes you think like, what? Well, okay, I think I just had a lapse of judgment. That's not real. I'm not crazy. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I don't like this. It made my eyes water a little bit. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. You can't explain it. Like, what the was even that? I'd go hang out at her house too. I'm like, I don't even want to look at my clubhouse anymore. Like, light it on fire. I don't care. Get rid of it. Burn it to the ground. Shut it down. And there's only one comment on here, you guys. It says, wow, fascinating. What are your other stories? Okay, chill out, standby kooky. Okay? Okay. Does this person have any other stories? Let's see. Post. Okay, so we have another story by this Redditor. We're going to go ahead and read it. Okay. The Red Room. Nobody in the family dares to go in that room. It's been left untouched for decades, but still remains the exact same since my great aunt Diane died at 12 from cancer. It was her room, obviously, and her favorite color was red. Red walls, red bed, and a Raggedy Ann doll. Diane's favorite doll sits perched up on her dresser. It's the first thing you see when you walk in there. My great-grandparents are still alive, and every holiday they have family come over. Nobody enters Diane's room. Not because they're not allowed to, but because everyone that ever goes in there feels this heaviness on their chest. Like they can't breathe. I've only been there for a few seconds when I was a kid, and immediately felt my adrenaline spike and ran out of there. And this was before I even knew about Diane. Anyways, this happened to my cousin, Jose. He was about 6 to 7 years old. I'm pretty sure this was his first time visiting my great-grandparents' house, so he was curious. Going to all the different colored rooms and playing. That's when he got to the red room. He was only in there for a few minutes until he runs out screaming and crying in my aunt's arms. He tells my aunt that the big kids in the red room were biting and hitting him. Jose lifts up his shirt to show my aunt, and he's covered in red marks, scratches and marks that were already bruised on his back. After she soothes him, she immediately goes to the red room to investigate. No kids are there. Just as she's about to leave, the Raggedy Ann doll slowly lifts both its arms up to my aunt, as if it creepily asked for a hug. She screams and slams the door shut. I'm not sure if my great-grandparents are oblivious or just don't want to acknowledge what happened in the red room, but I know they eventually moved the Raggedy Ann doll to storage and they don't invite people to sleep in the red room anymore. I don't know if I believe this one. I'm gonna be honest. I know. Raggedy Ann is like a key player in hauntings, but there's only one. Okay, I know dolls get possessed, but whatever. As this isn't Raggedy Ann, by the way, guys. This is the male counterpart. I know it looks like just like Raggedy Ann, but it's not her. I don't know if I believe this. I do think that spirits can attack you like this. I do think that, I don't know what the technical term is. Okay, don't hang me out to dry because I don't know the terms. All I'm saying is I do think that this is a possibility, and I did believe it until you said the whole Raggedy Ann giving a hug. Unless something purposely was like, did a thing with this Raggedy Ann doll, which it is plausible, but it's a little hard for me to believe. The room sounds fucking cool though. It sounds like a badass room, but I don't know if I believe this one. I'll let you guys be the judge. Anyways, everyone's seen me, but me. This all happened really recently, and I'm still shaken up about it. Most because I'm the only one who hasn't actually seen anything. A few nights ago, my mom and I were standing in the kitchen late at night, just talking, when I got a call from my brother. It was strange since he was home too. I answered, and right away he started calling me an asshole. When I asked why, he said he'd just seen me peeking around the corner while he was getting out of the shower. He said he only saw my eyes and the top of my head sticking out from behind the door frame. And when he caught me, I pulled back and disappeared. I told him it wasn't me, and my mom confirmed it because we hadn't moved from the kitchen. My brother isn't a liar, and he seemed genuinely freaked out, even locked himself in the bathroom. Still, I tried to reason it out. Then today, it happened again, this time with my cousin. My cousins were visiting, and I was cooking with one of them, while the other went down the hallway to grab something. A minute later, I heard him say, "Very funny." I thought he was talking to someone else, but when he came back, he accused me of trying to scare him. He said he saw me poking my head around the corner, only my eyes visible, before he went into the garage. When he came back out, I was gone. I told him it couldn't have been me, and that my brother had seen the exact same thing a few days ago. His face went pale, and he even saged the hallway afterward. The thing is, my brother and cousin are not the type of people to prank me. I say this affectionately, but they're both too straightforward and too literal-minded to make up something like this just to mess with me. To make it worse, my mom told me that a few days before any of this happened, she kept hearing me call her name from down the hallway. Once it even happened when I wasn't home, so now everyone in the house was either seen or heard me except me. At this point, I have no idea what's going on, but it really feels like I might be haunting my own family. I absolutely hate this. I hate this with all of my beings. I don't know how to explain this. I don't what the fuck? I don't like this at all. This scares the fudging shiz out of me. I don't like this. If somebody can explain this, please explain it in the comments, because I do not know. I wouldn't even begin to know what the hell this is. Are you gonna die soon? Like, what is this? Is this like... I've never heard anything like this before, and I hate it. I don't even know how to explain it. I have no words. I'm kind of speechless for the first time in my life. I don't know. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching and being scared with me. As always, I appreciate it more than ever. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. It's always up to you. Goodbye.